Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stoverload Music Podcast. As you guys know, I know I bring you a weekly show. We got great music, but once in a while, we got to have a sit down. We got to talk to some of these badass bands that we get on here. And today I have one of the members from a badass band that I've been supporting for the last year and a half that I really, really like. And they have a lot of badass singles with two EPs out, Southern State of Mind and Day of Reckoning. And their most recent single was March of the Sheep. Why don't you please welcome Sergio from the Modern Day Outlaw. Sergio,
Uh, how you doing, man?
good to finally have you on here, man.
No, glad to be here, man. Really appreciate it, man. Thanks for playing the tunes. Thanks for getting the music out there. I'm glad people like it. You know, it's the best thing to a struggling musician's ears.
I can imagine. I mean, and I got to start off with your most recent single, March of the Sheep, because I love that song, and it should literally be an anthem for the way the world is right now, because so many people feel that way.
Oh, you have no idea, man. It's hilarious. Actually, that song's pretty near and dear, man. That was actually the lyrics came about from our bass player who sadly passed away a few months ago, and we just had to get that song out there. And it was one of the first, it was like actually his biggest contribution. We couldn't wait to get it out and everything. And unfortunately he didn't live to see it out. And we missed the guy, but his music lives on, which is which is awesome. But yeah, no, he pretty much nailed it. He nailed the yin and yang of modern day society, so
That if there's any way to go, if you're going to leave a legacy behind, a gift of music and a strong message is always a great way to be remembered. And to
yeah.
his family and them who might be watching, our prayers and condolences.
Yeah, no, he was a great dude, man. Probably one of the most pivotal people in the band. Guy that kind of like kept us all leveled and shit. And when we were either complaining or fighting, one of the two, and he was always the one that was like, "Yeah, cut it out, stop it. You guys being a bunch of bitches." But no, missed the guy. But hey, you know what? His friends and all. When we were at the funeral. He's like, "Look, man, he's still watching you, and I'm sure he's smiling up there." I'm like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure of it." That, or he'd probably tell me that he's like, "Hey, sissy, stop it. Wipe your eyes. Get going. Move it."
I don't think he's singing March of the Sheep up in heaven.
Yeah. But I'm surprised at how people have taken to it. I think it's great that people are listening right now. I usually go by metrics of Spotify because that's the only thing that I get to see on a daily basis how it performs, and it's our number one song right now. So extremely proud of it. We had a single before then, "Broken Man," which is gone way beyond what we thought it would be, and yeah, man, just kind of enjoying the ride, really, pretty much.
Well, good music always tends to speak for itself, and hearing your feedback and your thoughts on songs like that, I'm not the least bit surprised just being a fan myself and listening. Sometimes you put music on, like right off the bat, just by those first four notes, what it's going to be kicking, it's going to be hitting, and Broken Man was another one, and then March of the Sheep, you just knew right off the bat.
Yeah, we still got three songs that we need we need to schedule the release of. We're in the process of that now. I haven't really picked a solid date. Two originals and one cover, and that should pretty much complete this EP for the most part. So
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to it because you guys have a nice track record of content between having two EPs. And now, are those EPs or albums?
EPs. I mean, we haven't really. The first one, "Southern State of Mind," is what we consider an album. We put our 9 or 10 songs on it. After that, it seems like the industry has changed. The only reason bands put out albums is to meet contract obligations, and we're not under any type of contract. And we'd rather break it down into good songs than try to throw a bunch of filler crap in between. You'll get an album that might be 2 or 3 good songs. The rest were kind of rushed just to meet a contract obligation.
Right.
So we'd rather just sit on them for a while and make them better. And that's kind of where we're at with music wise. Yeah. So another EP. God knows what else we got in the tank. If we have anything left at all, we're getting older, and the older we get, the less we are able to do things that we actually want to do in life.
Well, that's how it should be. And I'm really happy for you because you told me earlier that the band themselves, you guys are scattered. You're not in one state together. And to be able to keep up with this kind of music and do this, that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, no. So the singer's the one that's been most scattered. He up until recently, he was living in Oklahoma, and then now he's in North Carolina. And he's like, me and him are kind of like the key members of the band. Drummer's about 30 minutes away from me. The bass player was close by, but he passed away. And then our guitar player moved all the way to Jacksonville. So yeah, it's kind of hard to get everybody together to do anything. The last album we had to fly up to where the producer lives, which is in Wisconsin, and we recorded up there. Is that where you're from, Wisconsin?
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
You guys got great cheese curds,
among other things.
No, we had a great time. The Matt LaPlante, the producer we work with, and he took us all around Wisconsin, took us to all the micro brews and all the places. It was a good time while we recorded. And what's nice about that is he kind of took a lot of the pressure off us. So when we go in the studio to work on stuff, we weren't so pressured to come out with stuff. We were kind of relaxed, and that's where a lot of this music came from. Like how we were able to break down certain things, say, oh, you know what? A lot of times what I say is we'll go in there with a bunch of ideas and then, kind of throw it at him, and he'll say, no, let's do this, let's do that. And that's kind of how we ended up coming up with these songs,
It sounds like a really good dude to have in your corner.
Yeah, no, he knows his stuff, man. He's the incredible producer. He's worked with a lot of big bands before. So when he said he'd take it on, we were like, hell yeah, let's do it, He did the Day of Reckoning EP, the last one. He's the one that kind of stepped in and saved it because we had a real rocky patch with that EP. We had started with one producer, and they really weren't getting the concept of what we were trying to put out. And some friend of ours recommended Matt, and he came along, and sure enough, he really, he brought the music out. We're like, this is exactly what we're looking for. So after that, we said, we can't go with anybody else. We got to stick with this guy. He seems to know what we're about,
And it's amazing you say that too, because it seems like in this digital age, how you got everybody's, a bedroom artist, or they're their own band, their own marketer, their own producer, their own everything. And it's cool to hear about stories like what you're telling, because I don't hear a lot of stories about people who are actually looking to just produce and help bands instead of being a band themselves.
Right. Yeah, no, it's kind of strange how things work these days. I mean, I grew up back in the 90s where, if you were in a band, you had to go look for a recording studio. You had to go look for, different people to help you along. Nobody really knew what they were kind of doing. We were mixing on ADATs. I mean, nowadays you could take like a bunch of crappy guitar players, put them on, and just shred the hell out of it and make them sound really good, because in the digital age, that's just what happens,
Right.
But yeah, no, like I believe a producer is important, at least somebody that knows your sound. I mean, that's every big band works with a producer, someone that kind of puts things together, and they could either make or break the album, or even the band itself, because they'll change the direction of the band altogether depending on who, what it is that they're doing, or make it better, So I'm going to push for make it better.
Well, I think he's done an amazing job with you guys. He seems like he sees it. Well, I guess there's a good old saying, it's easier to read the chalkboard when you're not the one writing on it.
Right.
So he saw the greatness in you. He saw the style and the sound that was the Modern Day Outlaw, and he helped you guys kind of step back from the chalkboard to see it too.
Yeah. And one of the things he focused on too, and I mean, lyrics, we come up with lyrics, we'll bang our heads up against the wall trying to make it. We always say we want to make the songs mean something to somebody. And it was funny, like we'd sit there, we'd bring out lyrics, things like that. And, one of the funniest lines that he goes, okay, that sounds great, but I don't believe you. Like, what? No, I don't believe that's you. It's got to be you. If it's not you, people are going to see right through it. And sure enough, like if you're not doing if you're not the person that's on those songs, it's not going to be believable. Like that's probably what makes us is that, that music is really like things that we've either gone through or we think or whatever, things that we experience.
And that's really how rock and roll should be. Quite honestly.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like music's really special in a way where no matter what emotion you're feeling, it captures you, and people that are drawn in by the song, they're kind of that's what makes them feel it personalized. Like somebody can listen if somebody can listen to your song and say, "Wow, I had that emotion before, and that's why I like this." That's why you gravitate towards these things. Kind of like
Yeah.
what you said about March of the Sheep is like, yeah, I could see it. This yin yang nonsense of like modern day society and how really ridiculous it all is because it's all the same crap.
Yeah. Just amplified.
Yeah, just multiply it, just amplify the hell of it. It's funny because I'm originally from Argentina, and I went there. I've been visiting there back and forth the last couple of years, and my relatives, they're like, "Oh, everything here is blah 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 blah." They complain. I say, "Yeah, it's kind of just like that in the United States." "Oh no, but it's different." I'm like, "Oh no, it really isn't. It's all the same shit." It's
Yeah.
same complaints you guys are telling me. I've been hearing it for I don't know how fucking long. So it's hilarious that other people think the same thing and they think that you have it better. No, it's not that way at all. We're all the same. We same shit, different toilet is what I always say.
Well, I'm glad he said it, fans, because I was getting ready to say it too, but I wasn't going to word it as so vulgarly.
Oh, we pull no punches, man.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could have Ron on here with me because he's hilarious as fuck sometimes. Sorry about the vulgarity.
That's all right, man.
Out. I'm sorry. My bad.
It's okay. We got kids that check in and listen, you know what I mean? So we try to keep it PG a little bit, but hey, we like organic and we like reality. So hey, as long as you're not going off like a sailor with Tourette's, we're good.
No, we like to have fun, man. And the reality is that's what we got into music to be with. We like to have fun and relax. And if we can crack a good joke and make people laugh, I'd prefer that any day other than, the opposite,
Yeah. Now, you said you're based out of Florida, correct?
Right. South Florida, Fort Lauderdale area. That's where we all grew up. Me and Ron went to high school together. And the other guys grew up. The only person actually, Jake, the guitar player, he was from West Virginia, and we heard he was moving down. And a buddy of Ron had said, "Hey, there's this kid moving down. He's really badass at guitar. And we were looking for a guitar player at the time." And he sent me a video of him just like playing along to one of our songs, and I was like, "Dude, we got to check this kid out. He sounds pretty badass." So tried him out, and it was like when the pieces to the puzzle just fit.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, he's a phenomenal guitar player. Kurt has lived down the street from maybe 20 minutes away from us, the drummer. He was born in like I want to say Hollywood area, something like that. Same thing with Rob. So we're all just South Florida boys.
Well, it's a nice state to be, except for during hurricane season.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I bet.
What I always say about Florida is like, "Oh, it must be great. You guys are living in such great weather." I was like, "Oh, you'll love the weather up until August when it begins to feel like you're sitting inside an oven."
Yeah. It's cold as hell at night, and then during the day, it's like a scorching oven.
No, man, I tell you, Florida's one of the few states where it's freaking 90 degrees at 9 o'clock at night, man. You walk out and you're sweating in the middle of the night. It's like one of the weirdest things. Everywhere else I've been to, like, I've traveled all over the US and South America and other places too. And it's the only place I know where it does not cool down at night. Oh, I'm sorry. You know where it didn't cool down at night? Ecuador, where my wife's from, and Venezuela. I went there and visited back in the 90s, like, for like a month or something. But yeah, it does not cool down at night. It's just
wow.
Way through horrible weather.
So much like a rock show, there has to be a breather, some AC. It's mandatory.
Oh yeah, no, they look, man. I've been to shows where it was so freaking hot, like you're sweating standing still.
Wow.
And actually, a great one today. I was going. I really wanted to go up to Orlando to go see. It's called Heart Support Fest. I don't know if you heard of it, but August Burns Red, the singer that's throwing it, and they had a lot of great freaking hardcore bands up there, and I wasn't able to make it. So, but I'm here with you lovely people, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
And we're glad to have you. I'm curious, though, your fan base must be pretty extensive and pretty popular, because with March of the Sheep, having such a good success, and the Broken Man song too, can't imagine, you guys get a lot of interaction and feedback from your fan base.
Yeah, I mean, it's hit and miss sometimes. It'll be hot and cold, I guess is what you'd say. But I mean, I get to see the majority of where people are listening from and things like that. And what's really nice, I mean, obviously the U.S. Is our biggest market, but it's really cool when you see other countries in the world start picking up steam, and like you see listeners popping up from, like you see the world map just light up, and you're like, wow, people are actually listening to this. I always make a joke to these guys, and I send them a text message. Oh, it looks like we got to put Berlin on the tour. So,
Yeah.
I was like, I got new listeners in Brazil. Well, I guess we got to put that on the map too.
Yeah. If only you could go everywhere in one shot, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we always say, it's like, all we need to do is one of us needs to hit the lottery so we can get ourselves on the road and not have to, quit our jobs or anything like that.
Yeah, I think everybody's wishing for that.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, that's the one thing that keeps us. People ask, well, when are you going to hit the road? When are you going to do that? It's like, well, we have jobs, and we have homes, and we have bills and all that stuff. We'd love to be on the road, but it's kind of hard to do when you have all these, the R word, responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah, I know, man. Did I just bring a sad point to this whole interview?
Oh, not at all, man. It's real life. I mean, it's real life.
Yeah.
The game is different. The
Yeah.
music game is completely different. It's not like the way it was back in like the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, where you were good to, label picked you up, and then they
Yeah.
give you all this money and you can go and do practically whatever you want as long as you paid it back. Now it's, you got
Well,
to develop yourself and take care of your own personal life because you ain't got all that money being given to you.
even, I mean, what we keep saying is like, it's like we're not young anymore, right? When we were 19 years old, we could get up in a van and throw our equipment in and maybe just play for gas money, because it really wasn't a big deal. But I have friends that went and toured, and they were on big major bands, and they came back. One of the things they said, he goes, "Well, I kind of hated going on the tour and coming back with less money than I did when I left the first place." And they were on, big tours that people were like, "Oh, thousands of people came to see you," but apparently nobody's paying you. So,
Right. Right.
you're selling T-shirts just to get gas money to the next gig. That's the reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this generation needs to remember what it's like to have the love of music. It's not just about, I mean, yeah, rocking out and enjoying what you listen to is always a plus, but there's a
Yeah.
love behind it.
Yeah, it's funny. Not to get off the subject, but somebody was saying something like, I saw a band line up, and one of the comments was like, "Oh, look at them! They're making so much money and this and that." And one of the persons commenting is like, "I think they're just making enough to get by. I don't think it's like the rich rock star days that most fans think, oh, you're in a rock band, you must be making tons of money. No,
Yeah.
not really."
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. Back in the day where they could buy mansions and tons of cocaine
Yeah.
and hookers and buy their
Yeah.
way out of jail.
Yeah. But I mean, they did. To be honest, yeah, they did pay a lot better back in those days, because when they sold a CD, they got paid $2-3 a CD, or an album or whatever it was back in those days. Now they don't. Digital has kind of changed the game. It's done wonders for bands like us, where we're exposed to a much broader market, because now we don't have to go town to town to get people to listen to us. Now you could just pop it into a streaming service, and anybody can really be exposed to what you do. But the pay is significantly less. So there's good and bad.
Yeah. Yeah. But you guys have made the best of it, made the most of it. And the listeners are listening. That's the most important part. And we all love the work.
Oh, I really appreciate it. No, man, the reality is that's one of the things I look at. It's like, I'm just glad people are hearing, and to get music out there for, stations like as yourselves, just to even, give us the opportunity. We really appreciate that. It's always great when somebody comes to you after a show, or even just, reaches out to you and says, "Hey, man, I really dig what you're doing. I like your songs. You guys are badass."
Makes you feel good.
I never quite get over when people bring your CD and they say, "Can you sign it?" And I'm like, "What?"
Well, while you're on the topic.
Right. Yeah, that's right. No, but it is a cool. The coolest one that we had ever was this. The girl that Melanie, she was kind of like our manager for a while. She came and just, "Hey guys, this kid wants a CD and we all got to sign it for him. This kid was like 5 years old. We got him a CD and a t-shirt, signed a CD for him. And then his mom took a video of him getting everything. And he was the most excited kid. He was like 5 or 6 years old. They're like, he loves your music. He hasn't stopped playing it. Probably one of the coolest moments ever. You know, I loved it. I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
It's little moments like that that let you know.
Yeah, no, exactly. Just that moment where somebody comes, you know, and just like, wow, you really like it. I'm glad you do. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate, because, you know, sometimes we don't always get to see what our rewards are, you know?
Right. Yeah. And that personal interaction, that difference maker, little moments like that make it worth it.
You just remind me. I got it when we. I'm gonna have to print some of the new EP out just so I can get one over to you.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I do like the artwork. We hooked up with this guy out of England, and he's done work for a lot of. He's actually done some work for like Stephen King and a bunch of different, like, you know, art. I forget what the heck it is, but anyways, that's who did Day of Reckoning and who did this EP, the artwork for it. The guys does phenomenal digital work, and I always was a big fan of like really, really cool looking album covers, you know?
Right. Well, hey, the artwork has always been badass. I've never seen anything bad from the Modern Day Outlaw.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm hoping we can do more of it. You know, I figured, hey, if you're gonna put out rock songs, might as well give it that rock and roll touch, you know. And that's kind of like what, like I said, the first couple albums I picked up, I usually was like, this looks like a cool album cover. It must be a badass band, you know.
Right. Yeah, there's been rare occasions where you pick something up, the cover's cooler than the actual album, but it's a hit and miss, you know.
Well, I found Iron Maiden, so I couldn't miss on that one. You know?
You can never go wrong with Maiden. Never.
Hell, that was like I was like, this looks really cool. They must be a really great band. You know?
That was an understatement when you'd listen to it, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, they freaking. I mean, for a 12-year-old kid picking up his first CD, never hearing heavy metal in his life, that was like somebody just opened up the gates. You know, I was like, wow,
right?
Like, where's been all my life? You know,
right. Well, we're at a point in the show right now. We do a little something special with all our guests. It's called The Floor is Yours. And I like to give all my guests this time, if they want to send a special message or something they want to say to new listeners and current, what would you like to tell them?
A special message to all the listeners and current. Well, I'd like to say thank you to everyone that's checked us out and even listened to us and given a bunch of dorky kids from South Florida an opportunity, because we really do appreciate it. We'd love for you to see us sometime or check us out on YouTube, Spotify, whatever it is. Send us a message, call us a bunch of jerks, whatever it is. We like to have fun. So, I mean, no, we'd love it for you to reach out to us and tell us what our songs meant to you, because that's important to us. That's why we make music to begin with, you know, just so we can share a little bit of what we do with you, you know?
And if fans want to find you guys and be able to merchandise, hook up, keep up to date, and become a Modern Day Outlaw follower themselves, how can they do that?
Usually pretty frequent on Facebook and messaging. That's where our little site is. You can check us out on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Music, all the major streaming services. We're on Instagram too, Twitter. Feel free to reach out to us any of those platforms, and we'll be more than happy to respond back. I mean, we check it all the time. Everybody always does get responded back. So if it takes a little bit of time, it's just because we're a little bit, you know, maybe bogged down. But for the most part, yeah, dude, check us out. Tell us anything. Even send a like or anything. You know, we appreciate it.
You know, I'm telling you, fans, I love these guys' work. I've been listening to them for the last almost 2 years now. And it's great work. You can't go wrong with it. And because you're in Florida, the last band we had on the show was Ember Fading, and they're in Florida as well. I think you two guys would put on one hell of a show.
Where are they from?
Florida. I don't know exactly what part. I just know they're in the same state as you.
I was like, Florida's big, man. Sorry. No, Florida's, you know what, man? Florida's got some phenomenal places for music, and places that were up and coming that when I was growing up weren't there before. But Tampa's always been big. Orlando's been showing strong. Jacksonville, Fort Myers now is starting to pick up steam. A lot of good bands. Port St. Lucie. And so, I mean, there's a lot of it's not just South Florida and Tampa. That's where the two traditional spots were. Now a lot of other places are bringing out great bands. Don't forget about Gainesville and Ocala, man. I mean, we've seen some really big headlining national acts come out of just that area alone. So yeah, Florida's been pretty much been on the forefront of music for a long time. Can't really discount Clearance Clearwater Revival, Leonard Skinner or freaking Tom Petty either. Those were great bands that came out of Florida. So
they paved the way for guys like you to be here today.
Yeah. Well, Leonard Skinner's been one of our, like, if people ask me, hey, what do you guys sound like? I said, well, it's kind of like Leonard Skinner meets Metallica. And that's the only way I could really describe what we do.
He's not lying, fans. It really does have that mix, but it has a really cool modern mix to it. I'm telling you, go check out their work. Once you hear it, you're not going to stop playing it. When I heard March of the Sheep, I played that song 3 times in a row. Then my buddy came over for a bar because I said, dude, you got to hear this. And I played it 2 more times because it was that good.
Sweet.
Well, hope you made your day there, Sergio.
No, you did, bro. I mean, just hearing stuff like that, man, that's kind of what, that's what we do it for anyways. It's just, like there's a lot of things that bog us down during the day, and we don't think that our stuff is appreciated. But then when you hear that, you're like, oh, great, man. Awesome. I love it that people are actually listening and they like it. That's a big one.
And a little known fact too, just to take a flashback down memory lane, maybe about 2 months ago, we had the top 10 on New Year's Eve on Good Music Radio, and the Modern Day Outlaw was in there.
Sweet.
So it was the best of 2022, and you guys were in there. There's no way I couldn't have not put you in there. You know what I mean? March of the Sheep, Broken Man. They have to go in there.
Yeah, wait. We have two others. 1 website, 3 more. They're coming. The I don't count the cover because the cover's still a cover. Somebody else wrote it. We just gave it tribute. But we have one that's very heavy and another one that's very emotional. So we kind of went 2 directions on this EP. We wanted to get the emotional side, then we wanted to get the heavy side to it. So be in for a ride,
Well, this is a ride we're all waiting for, and I don't know about most of you guys, but I know I'm enjoying the hell out of it. But as we always say here on the show, all good things must come to an end. And sadly, we're hitting our mark, and I've been having a ball because I've been waiting a long time to get one of these guys on the show. But Sergio, thanks again for taking the time out to come on and talk with us about the album, the band, the history, the good times, the ups and downs. And thank you again for everything that you guys do. I mean, it's a nice escape from reality, and it's also a motivator.
Oh, no. Hey, man. No, thank you. Good Music Radio, everybody that listens. I mean, without you, I mean, truth be told, we wouldn't even be here because there'd be nobody to kind of put out what we do, and I'm not just speaking of Modern Day Outlaw, but as in music in general, people like you that taking time out of your day to do this for other people, which is awesome, man. I really appreciate you guys and what you do.
Hey, good music brings us all together. Doesn't matter if you're in a band or if you're a fan, we all feel it the same way.
You're damn right.
Well, that's all the time we got today with Sergio from the Modern Day Outlaw. But guys, go check them out. Give them a follow. Go grab some merchandise. Grab a CD. I always tell you guys, get something you can actually physically hold or wear. It's not a reality till it's actually in your hands. Until then, we will see you guys again very soon. This has been my awesome guest, Sergio from the Modern Day Outlaw. I'm your host, Mike Stover, and we're out.